Have you ever wondered if you're truly maximizing Burnice's potential in ZZZ? Today, we'll be diving into the ultimate guide to building her into an absolute powerhouse. Stick around and let's get you dominating the game with Burnice. So you're probably here because you've been hearing about Burnice, the fiery sub-DPS character in ZZZ. Maybe you've already unlocked her, or you're just wondering if she's worth building. Well, let's settle this once and for all. This is the absolute best guide to building Burnice in ZZZ. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make her burn through your enemies like a hot knife through butter. Alright, let's start by talking about what makes Burnice so special. Sure, there are other powerful characters in ZZZ, but Burnice stands out for one main reason: off-field fire damage. Wait, off-field fire damage? Yep, that means while your main DPS is on the front lines, Burnice is in the background stacking up burn effects and dealing huge fire anomaly damage without even being on the screen. Pretty cool, right? But that's not all. She can also trigger anomalies so fast it makes your head spin. Now let's take a step back and talk about her core abilities. Burnice's nitro fuel cocktail state is the heart of her power. When she enters this mode, she becomes a literal flamethrower on the battlefield, scorching enemies and leaving burn effects that continue to rack up damage. The best part? She doesn't even need to stick around for long. Burnice just pops in, triggers her burns, and then lets the main DPS shine while she's off dealing damage on her own. This makes her incredibly useful for teams that need their main characters to stay on the field as much as possible. Here's where it gets even better. Burnice's Afterburn passive triggers every 1.5 seconds. This means that while you're focused on your main damage dealer, Burnice is still out there doing her thing, applying fire anomalies and keeping the heat going. It's like having a secret weapon you don't even need to manage all the time. But let's pause here for a second. You're probably thinking, is she really that good? Well, yes, and here's why. Her synergy with other characters is where Burnice truly shines. She's a perfect fit for anomaly-based teams or those with other Sons of Caledon characters. If you've got Jane, you've probably already experienced the raw power she brings as a main DPS. Pairing Burnice with Jane is like putting rocket fuel on a fire. Literally. Jane does the heavy lifting, while Burnice's quick burns make sure anomalies are constantly building up, increasing your overall damage output. But wait, what if you don't have Jane? No problem. Burnice still works incredibly well with other characters. Let's talk about some team alternatives for a second. You could pair her with Caesar for a super strong combo. Caesar gives your team shields and buffs, which makes your squad even harder to take down. Or if you're more into off-meta builds, you could try out Seth, Rena, or Lucy. Seth helps reduce the enemy's anomaly build-up resistance, which makes Burnice's burns even faster. Rena, while being an electric-type character, still boosts your team's pen ratio, meaning your attacks will cut through enemy defenses more effectively. And Lucy, she deals damage off-field too, while giving your whole team a significant attack buff. The point is, Burnice fits into many teams, so you've got options. It's all about figuring out how to leverage her burns best. Speaking of burns, let's take a deeper dive into Burnice's attack kit. Her basic attack Mixed Flame Blend can only be used in the Nitro Fuel Cocktail state, and trust me, you'll want to be in that state as often as possible. Burnice spins in place like a fiery top, spewing flames all around her and finishing with a small but mighty explosion. But the real kicker is that it boosts her EX special attack and assist attack damage by 20% when she's off field. Remember what we talked about earlier? Burnice spends most of her time in the background, so boosting her off-field damage is key. Chaos Jazz does exactly that. For the remaining 2-piece set, you've got options. We'd recommend Swing Jazz for the energy regeneration, which allows Burnice to get back into the fight faster and use her abilities more frequently. Alternatively, if you want more fire damage, Inferno Metal can give her that extra boost. It really depends on your playstyle, but both work really great. Now if you're still with me, let's talk stats for her disk drive. you'll want to prioritize anomaly proficiency on disc 4, fire damage or attack percent on disc 5, and anomaly mastery on disc 6. This setup ensures that her burns hit hard and that those anomalies deal the maximum possible damage. But maybe you're the type of player who likes to experiment a little more with different setups. If that's the case, there are a few other disk drive sets that can work for Burnice depending on your playstyle. For instance, the Freedom Blue set can give you a little extra flexibility in battle. This set provides a 10% boost to energy regeneration and a 5% attack boost, making it a nice alternative if you want to lean into quicker ability use rather than maximizing burn damage. And for players who like to push high damage with crits, a set like Crystal Groove might be fun to try out, offering extra critical damage bonuses. Just remember, you'll want to experiment and see what feels best for your team setup. Okay, so we've gone over her abilities, her gear, and her team synergies. But here's the big question: is she worth summoning? Well, if you've got a fire-based team, or if you're already running anomaly strategies, then the answer is a resounding yes. Burnice can elevate your entire team's damage output, especially if you've got characters like Jane or Soldier 11 to pair her with. The quick burn triggers and constant anomaly buildup make her one of the best sub-DPS options in the game. But let's say you don't have a fire-based team or those anomaly-centered characters. Should you still summon her? Well, that depends. If you're willing to build around her, she can still be super effective. But if you don't plan on using fire anomalies or don't have a DPS that can stay on the field long enough to make use of her off-field damage, she might not be as impactful. That said, there's one more factor to consider before you make your final decision. Yanagi, the electric anomaly DPS character, is coming soon. Rumor has it that Yanagi's playstyle will be somewhat similar to Burnice's, focusing on off-field damage. So if you're tight on resources and not fully sold on Burnice, it might be worth waiting to see how Yanagi performs before going all in on summons. Burnice is an absolute beast when built right. Her ability to deal off-field fire damage, trigger anomalies rapidly, and synergize with top-tier characters makes her a top pick for anomaly teams. If you follow the build guide we've laid out for you today, you'll be burning through your enemies in no time. One thing to keep in mind is Burnice's future liability in ZZZ's evolving meta. With constant updates and new characters, her off-field damage and flexibility make her a strong, versatile choice. As more fire or anomaly-based characters are added, Burnice could become even more crucial, making her a solid long-term investment for your team. So, what do you think? Are you planning on summoning Burnice, or are you holding off for Yanagi's arrival? Let us know in the comments below, and if this guide helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more ZZZ content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.